Here with Dane Brugler, senior NFL draft analyst. I'm CineSport's Noah Coslov. The 7-round mock draft is up. The draft guide is out. Just check out the Twitter handle at DPBrugler for all the information. And, of course, last week, this is where we start, the big trade, the Rams getting up to the number 1 pick. How does this impact 1 and 2 in the first round?
Yeah, and the belief around the league is that we are going to see quarterbacks go 1-2 this year, just like last year. Mm-hmm. The big question this year is which order, Goff, Wentz, which one goes number 1? And then at number 2, Cleveland. Do they stay at that pick and take the other quarterback? Or are we going to see them jump out for another team looking to trade up into the top 2? The Rams are being coy right now with their intentions. You know, they know exactly who they traded up to get, but they're holding those cards close to the vest, not revealing who they like more. And then at number 2, the Browns. We know that new front office, new head coach. The analytics say to get more picks. And so if they're not in love with the other quarterback that's available at number 2, there's a good chance we see the Eagles or the 49ers go up to that spot. The Browns want to get more picks, accumulate, so a good chance we see them get out of that number 2 pick. A lot of intrigue at the top of the draft after this trade.
Yeah, certainly. And Laremy Tunsil, the offensive lineman from Ole Miss, is long thought to be the number 1 pick, but not anymore. So what happens to him?
Tunsil, he was the prevailing favorite to go number 1, and now we could see him fall out of the top 5 altogether. If we see the quarterbacks go 1-2, number 3, San Diego, it's a very logical landing spot for the left tackle from Ole Miss, but they also want a defensive playmaker at that spot. So it wouldn't be a surprise if they went DeForest Buckner or Jalen Ramsey at number 3. And if that's the case, I don't think Tunsil goes 4 to the Dallas Cowboys, 5 to Jacksonville Jaguars. So unless we see a trade, there is a scenario where he could fall out of the top 5. And it would be similar as last year with Leonard Williams, who a lot of people thought was the best player in the draft. He fell to 6 in the Jets. And so Tunsil this year, he could conceivably fall out of the top 5 right into the laps of the Baltimore Ravens at pick number 6.
All right, so 2 weeks ago we talked about the next big date, and it was last week's medical rechecks for Jalen Smith and Myles Jack. So now what do you know?
Yeah, there were almost 40 players in Indianapolis last week for the medical rechecks. Jalen Smith, the news wasn't too much better than what we found out at the Combine. Teams are worried that he won't play this year at all in 2016, but they are optimistic he can return to form in 2017. It's a big guess at this point, but a good chance we see Jalen Smith somewhere in the middle rounds now. It's a little more complicated with Myles Jack. Some teams are optimistic about the knee, while some other teams are a little pessimistic. They're worried about long-term issues with that meniscus tear and what that could mean. And so if you're taking a player top 10, which is what his value, what his talent says, where he should go, you just want more consistency. You want to be able to project him better than not just holding your breath that the knee's going to hold up. So we could see Myles Jack fall a little bit. 2 teams in the top 10 told me that he will not be on their draft board. But I don't think we're going to see a big fall for Myles Jack. He could still go top 10, maybe slip to the middle of the first round. He's definitely a wild card now.
We're about a week and a half away from the NFL draft. You can check out the Twitter handle at DPBrugler for Dane's 7-round mock draft and the full draft guide. Dane, good talking to you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Noah.